What's going on, everybody? My name is Christian, the Digital CCH, bringing you another episode of Techno Thursday. Today, no fancy screen shares or anything like that. What we're going to be doing is answering some of the most popular questions we've gotten from our agency owners and contacts revolving around some of the GA4 content we've been putting out recently. It's definitely a hot button issue right now, one that not everybody's taking too seriously right now, but we're finding that maybe you should put a little more emphasis on these questions now as opposed to waiting till later in this year or early next year before the official Google deadline comes up on us next, I think, July 1st, 2023. So we've crowdsourced or aggregated some of the most popular questions that we've gotten from our agency owners, and we're going to try to do our best to answer them for you today. So let's get started. First one, what is the benefit of using GA4 once UA expires? Great question. Seems pretty simple, but basically so far we know that the data from GA4 will improve the customer journey, show us improved user engagement analysis, and simplify the goals and event setups. There are many more improvements we'll see over time, and we believe that GA4 will create a much better understanding of the data than Universal Analytics did, and UA is already very powerful. Next up, how will we use GA4 data in our reporting, since we are currently using UA data mainly or exclusively. In the short term, over the next, I'd say 3 to 6 months, we will continue to use UA for all of our reporting and slowly transition over to GA4 once all existing clients are set up and tracking properly. GA4 data will start rolling into our reporting dashboards, hopefully by the end of this year, definitely first quarter 2023. Next question. Best event configuration for our clients to match KPIs, current tracking, goal setup, etc. From the little bit of work we've done so far in GA4, from what I've seen, if you're able to create events in GTM for UA, we can create them in GTM for GA4. Once an event is created and is reporting the added to GA4, it can be flagged to quote unquote mark as conversion, which is previously known as goals in UA. We did a recent Techno Thursday video on this. Maybe we can link it. Let's go here. What is our action plan on when all clients should have a GA4 set up, and when should we transition to GA4 exclusively? We said this in our video, in one of our recent videos, that if you have the ability to, you should create a GA4 property as soon as possible in order to start capturing as much data for as long as possible before we have to switch over to exclusively GA4. What this will allow you to do is have as much historical data as possible, because you're not going to be able to mix the data between UA and GA4. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to still see the historical data in UA, but once it stops reporting next year, you're only going to have your GA4 data. So what you can and should do is create your GA4 property alongside your UA property in your Google Analytics account, and then add that measurement ID, as it's called, inside your Google Tag Manager, and publish the container. Existing events and goals should also be created in GA4 and start collecting data sooner rather than later to have that historical data, like I said, and look back ability for conversions and things like that. As long as the new measurement ID is created and added to the website, there is no hard deadline to switch to GA4 other than Google's hard date of 7/1/23. We should be prepared to start reporting on only GA4 data in the early spring of 2023 with a soft sunset of May 1st, 2023 for UA. How much time should I plan on spending to get my clients set up for GA4? Well, this really depends on what your comfort level is, how much work you've done inside GA4 so far. If you haven't done much, I would recommend just going in there, creating a property either for your own website or just a dummy account, and just start playing in almost like a sandbox environment, just to see how everything lays out, compare where you normally look for something in UA to where it's now found in GA4. We do plan on doing one or several videos on the similarities and or differences between UA and GA4, so definitely look out for that. But How much time should you spend? I would plan on 1 to 2 hours per client or website to create the new GA4 property, tag it into GTM, and create all the events and goals needed to track as closely as possible to how UA was set up. This time frame could obviously vary. In most cases, most likely be less than an hour, but in some cases take 3 to 4 hours to fully get set up, depending on your comfort level in the new platform and how complex the existing UA setup is. For example, we have one of our agency clients that we work with that has, I think, 12 or 15 existing goals in UA, and I think 20 to 30 different events that they're tracking. So obviously this one's going to take a lot more time than a website that just maybe has a click to call and form submit event and goal. What do I need to do right now? All right, this is the biggest question. At a minimum, if you've not already, create a GA4 measurement ID for your website as well as any of your clients. If you are using GTM, you can add the measurement ID as a tag and publish your container for the easiest implementation. You can also place the global site tag directly on their website. We use GTM for pretty much everything we do, so that's how we're doing it, as adding a tag and publishing the container. That way we can set up our events and everything through tags and GTM that way, and then fire those out to GA4 and track them on that side as well. Once you have the GA4 property added to your website, begin the process of reviewing and defining the existing goals, the existing events and goals in the UA property, and mirror them in the GA4 property, either through GTM or inside the GA configuration page. Lastly, once you've added the GA4 property to your sites, created the events and conversions, again, conversions is now what was previously known as goals in UA. Start monitoring the data and compare to the old UA data, make changes when needed, and once you feel comfortable with what you see, you can start to use GA4 exclusively for your analytics monitoring. And as long as you get that done within the next couple weeks, couple months, and have at least 6 months of data flowing into GA4, I think you're in a pretty good position to be set for the hard sunset of UA and the official launch of GA4 come next July. So any questions you might have, drop us a comment, tag us. We'll do our best to get back to you. But I hope this helped, and we will see you on the next one.